Hi. Hi. Ah, okay. I need to then stand like this. So we make the Kinect thing. So thanks for having me. Hey, it will not work actually. Basically, what you were about to see is that I'm fascinated with mobile marketing over a decade because literally it's the most intimate device you can imagine. We carry it with us all the time. It's no matter if we're in bed or on our way to work or during work, if we're away from our PCs and having a lunch break or at home. And the funny thing is, like, even when you're at home watching TV, we still have our mobile phones around. So it's not like that we leave it in the kitchen. So actually, even if something is stimulating, oh, that was not a click, but anyway. Also, you can kill time. So if you're like bored or this is a click. And it's personalized and really also with location-based. So those devices really became like a multifunctional tool, and you have now all the stuff in it, like GPS, etc. The fascinating thing for me is that with like communication, it was really freed from cords, and basically the moment we started to walk around, it became really fascinating. Now, if you imagine what's happening in a computer space, does that look stupid, by the way? Maybe I should do it with food or something. So basically, what's happening in the computing space, also that basically really changed, and there is a lot of momentum. What's with the mobilization there? If you combine these two things, like communication with mobility and computers, you end up with really fascinating possibilities. And the stuff is, it's not stopping here. So whenever, hey, thanks. Oh, thank you. Because otherwise, you know, from a form factor point of view, I mean, you can't get those things smaller. At some point in time, it wouldn't make sense to make them smaller. But it's fascinating to see what comes up with interfaces, with the technology of both hardware and software. So it's still, it keeps to stay fascinating. Now, of course, the last decade was mainly an area of trial and error, because with any new medium, you're trying something and then it doesn't work, and then you're trying to figure out why it doesn't work. And there has been a lot of stupid things that happened in the market. I think there are two sides to that. While the last decade felt like almost we had like a handbrake on, and it was not very successful in that sense. I think we really had to basically build the foundation to make it successful. So what I mean with these kind of like building blocks is stuff like, for instance, that are really necessary. Those guys kill me. I just stay here. Is, for instance, penetration. Now we have like 100% penetration. People really overall have it. But it's not only that everyone has a mobile device. Those devices are really incredibly smart. So basically, if you just look at the numbers, Google, they're activating almost 1 million devices every single day. That is like massive. This year we will have more smartphones sold than dumb phones. Apple shipped over 360 million devices, iOS devices. We don't leave our house without a key, wallet, and a mobile phone. Also, it's how we interact with mobile phones. So no matter if we're doing purchase decisions or if we're at home looking at media, consuming media on the phone, etc. It's also about this generation that's currently growing up. I mean, just imagine everyone who is born like in the late 90s, the kind of like millennials, the digital natives, they're really born with these devices, and it's fascinating to see how they're actually using it. They've become really cheap, and it's really like kind of like all you can eat flat rates are there. So last year Barcelona was quite expensive for me with my mobile data roaming. Like this year I pay €3 for a flat rate every single day, and I think that's a cool thing that happened. You also that, of course, is also then like really paying off with the mobile data. So what I've just mentioned with the flat rates and with the new devices, of course, the data usage is really skyrocketing. And it continues to grow, giving that it's really now the next evolution coming up with LTE, so we will see way more bandwidth, like what LTE is basically promising in the laboratory. Fascinating stuff. Finally, those devices really have become lovable. It's not like those weird stuff that you can't use. I mean, we are now having interfaces. Oh, I'm shooting at you, Rupi. Interfaces that a 3-year-old can use. So that really also helped. So in a nutshell, if you combine all these factors that really all had to be created first, and you combine it with an ecosystem like the App Store, and alone Apple, they ship now over 30 billion apps. If you combine this, it's really gained a lot of momentum. So these are the kind of building blocks that I talk to, and it's really about that now you have the opportunity to do something interesting in that space. Now, I was referring to this trial and error phase, and these building blocks, I think they're there, but still we're doing some stupid stuff, and that's more about the soft factors, more about kind of like gut decisions that we do. So I took this picture in a shopping mall, and basically what it says is, hey, you know, install this application and then look at our window in the shopping mall. I can see the creativity behind it and the idea that the people had. It was like, you know, they will download it and then they will stand in front of the window, and then all these great things will happen on their mobile phone. They will like it, they will be excited, they will tweet it, they will put it on Facebook, and it will be like a big, massive phenomenon. The brutal truth is that basically in those 10 minutes that I was standing there, no one was interested, really literally no one. No one stopped. Basically, I had to stop because the security guy got kind of worried about me because I just took pictures of this store. So why was it not working? In my eyes, it's those kind of soft factors that I was referring to. It's totally not usable. Like download goggles from the App Store, get it. I mean, with these little devices, I mean, usability really does make a difference. The context, I mean, people are in a shopping mall, they want to be inspired, right? So they pass by window stores and they want to look at windows. So it's a pretty stupid idea to have an empty window in a shopping mall when people want to be inspired. What kind of relevance does it create if you do it in that environment? And finally, where is actually the perceived added value to that? Because what's the benefit of just like looking at this and having something on it? If you compare it, that's a similar thing, but highly successful. This is from Tesco in South Korea. It's kind of like a similar thing, but what I mean with the difference is it's highly more relevant to the people. So what they've done is at tube-way stations, people were able to shop with their mobile phone. The difference is, first of all, the context. I mean, you know that your next train is arriving in 12 minutes. You're actually kind of like bored. You remember, oh, I should buy some milk. So it's a perfect setting. Also, the kind of layout that you see there, it looks exactly like the store. So it's highly usable. If you've shopped once at the Tesco store, you know exactly where to find the apple juice and the bread, etc. And it's of course of highly added value because by the time you're actually commuting home, you can receive your groceries. So with these kind of things, that's what I mean with like perceived added value. Just another example from America, this is from Chase, and in the US, checks are still very, very popular, and you have the hassle of actually mailing in a paper check, or you need to go to a bank. They created a mobile app that you basically use your mobile app to scan the checks, and then via your mobile phone, you can cash in your check. Maybe not relevant for us here because we don't use check that often, but for the US, highly, highly value. So let's look at some, in my case, interesting examples, taking notice of like what's kind of like usable and relevance, etc. So Nike've done something great called the Nike Training Club, which is really like kind of like personal training on your mobile phone. If you check the ratings on the App Store, people love it, and they're really engaged with the brand. If you do it right, something like this. This is another example from Nike, which is Nike Plus, the GPS running system where you can compare your tracks, etc. If you do it right, you can even actually charge for the application. And as a marketeer, just imagine that you put your brand with your logo out on a mobile device on this little screen, you're present there, and people even pay to use a service with you, to be engaged with you. I think that's really fascinating. Another example from Adidas. This is in Japan, and they're sponsoring a Giants team there, and they have the problem that actually the youth, the teenagers, are not that interested anymore in baseball. So they came up with this mobile app where actually you can train to pitch and to run and do like four different baseball moves. And the catch with that is you can compete and you have scorings, and the top 9 are invited to go to a training camp. So again, highly engaging to the target audience and great results for Adidas. Just to stay in this category, Reebok that did something about the Promise Keeper. So you have this entire ecosystem where not only you track what you're doing as a workout, where you also basically say, actually, I'm going to run tomorrow morning at 7. So you make a promise. So you use your peer pressure to actually really go out and do something. If you then don't deliver your promise, what you basically have is that a message is then posted on your Facebook wall where like people like this boxer basically says like, hey, you actually promised, it's Amir Khan. So he's basically posting on your Facebook wall, hey, you actually made a promise, you wanted to go running at 7 and you didn't do it. So what's up with your promise? So again, highly engaging. Another example, which I really love about brand engagement, is from Heineken with Star Player. Because just imagine that it's like accompanying you for a football game, for a soccer game. So you have actually 90 minutes of engagement. What people do with this app is basically they chat with their friends, they do predictions. So if there is, for instance, a corner, you say like, oh, actually this will score a goal. And if you're right, you're earning points. Again, just imagine as a brand marketeer, you're engaged with your target audience for over 90 minutes. Another example, Super 8, the movie from the Lost creator, J.J. Abrams, great movie by the way. They brought out an app which is very like, titled to the movie Super 8. It's a Super 8 app. And again, people actually really love it because it gives the kind of like 70s, 80s feeling of like shooting your first Super 8 movie. Again, a paid app, making promotion of the movie and later on the Blu-ray release, but also really having engaged the people and sharing it on Facebook, etc. This is from Domino's Pizza, a great app which allows you to customize your pizza. It also using gamification, and you can compete with your friends, and you can make the best pizza creation that you're able to be up to. But of course, you also can order it. So right from your iPad, out of this gamification environment, you can order a pizza. And if you think that basically pizza is not healthy, there is even an app that is powered by carrots. So that's not a joke, it's done by a bunch of carrot farmers. It's a mobile game and it uses the microphone. So while you're eating those little baby carrots, the more carrots you eat and in the microphone, the quicker your card runs. So I'll try it out. It's actually really working. It uses the kind of like sound recognition around the carrot bite. I tried it with a banana. It didn't work. You need to have a carrot. This is an example from Scandinavian Airlines. And they had like a really nice twist around kind of like couponing and like partner fairs. So what they've done is basically a campaign where you had two QR codes and you had to hold two mobile phones next to each other in order to claim the partner code for that and to have cheaper air travels. So again, like a little twist of like, hey, let's do something together. Let's use QR, for instance, creatively. This is an example from Lego. I always like when it's not limited to only one device or only to the mobile channel. So this is really interactive with the Lego gameplay. So while building something, you really have the ability to again take a picture of it, compare it with your friends. You have game elements in it. You can compete against time. You can create your own stuff and you can upload it. Target is doing a great job in like combining the physical world with the mobile phone. So with their app, for instance, you can see local availability of products, and if you want to check out something, you can make a reservation, and then you go to the local Target store and you pick it up there. this is an example from Belgium. Toyota, for the promotion of their new SUV, they made a mobile app that allows you to claim like a rabat, like a reduction, a price reduction. And the way they do it, because it's an SUV, the more remote you are, the more points you get, and the cheaper the car is. So people actually really trying to figure out the most adventurous locations in Belgium, because there they can claim more points, and then the car really gets cheaper. And staying with Toyota, this is what Toyota in Japan was doing. I quite like this idea to engage with the younger target audience. So they made an app that basically allows you to, while you're driving, to hand out your device to the guy, to the girl or boy next to you. And she's actually really interacting then with the mobile phone during the play. So it's using GPS technology and location-based. And so while they're driving, she's on the back seat playing this little game, can earn points, can basically chat and all these kind of stuff. So it's really interacting with the physical drive then. Another example of mixing media, this is actually a print advertising that is using the mobile phone to engage in kind of like the brand awareness. So it's from Mercedes-Benz, and actually you put your mobile phone on top of the of it, and if we have sound, we basically basically gives you a nice feeling about the over 400 horsepower that you have with this car in a very fun way. Last examples, this is from Bex, and it's an app that is using really creatively their logo. So one thing is like if you're out partying and you have this app, what you need to do is basically you need to hold the key inside a moving target. You will see it in a second. Then you know what it is, and basically if you're drunk. But this is then the last example from ACC. So just imagine the setup. You have multiple girlfriends, and you want to stay in contact with them. So basically what you do is you tell your mobile phone the names of them, and like the where you've met, and the hair color, and the eye color, and stuff like that. And so while you are out, for instance, in the cinema, your mobile phone automatically keeps updates with the other girlfriend. So again, like interesting usage of a mobile phone. So to wrap up, I think they're really like exciting times now, because the building foundations are there. If you take a look at the development in this last decade, it's stunning, and it will stay stunning. It will stay really fascinating what we will do with hardware, with software, with the integration of it. And if you just keep in mind those principles that I told you, if you think about the mobile context and the mobile use cases, and if you combine that with like creativity, I think you're really up for addressing like a target audience that just has been born and that is really so engaged with their devices that it's their core, that is basically part of their daily life. Thank you. And sorry for the technical